I brought a picture. You can't really see it very well, and I can pass it around. I have my oldest daughter and her husband, and they actually have 4 kids now. My second daughter and her husband, and they have 2 kids. My son and his wife now have 1, and if you know her, don't tell anybody. She's expecting number 2. She's going to make it a surprise announcement. And then my twins are Toya and David. And let's see who else is upside down to me. Emily and Daniel, my youngest. And he's now actually 6 feet tall. So this was a complimentary picture of me, not the kids. So this is why I brought you this. So where are they now? I can't really take credit for where they're at. This was such a God thing, such a blessing. Because I was not raised in the church, and everything for me was a learning experience along with the kids, we used to pray for missionaries, and we'd read the books about the people in the Bible and missionaries that had gone places. And one of my kids' favorite things was we just had a piece of paper and we put it up on the wall. I had a couple of tough pregnancies where I was sitting in my rocking chair while the kids sat around me to homeschool, and they worked out. They were wonderful memories. But anyway, I'm in a rocking chair, and up on the wall we have our prayer list, and who are you going to pray for? And we'd add their names. It was just a mess. There was no template or anything. It was just, and it scrolled down, and we had that scroll, and we put it up, and we'd pray for people. Well, I don't know how it happened, but my oldest 2 daughters are missionaries in training in Argentina, and it's such a blessing. We're praying for them all the time. It's not always safe where they're at, and they're making a difference. It's incredible. So that's what my other kids are experiencing, having their siblings gone. My daughter Victoria is strongly called to Argentina. She has been there for about a total of 3 years, I guess, in her last 6 years. She went down, her first trip down was for 3 months when she was 14. That was another benefit of homeschooling. The opportunity came up that she got to go to Argentina. Her sister and my son-in-law were living there. So she lived with them for 3 months and learned Spanish. We got her all kinds of credits for Spanish that year. And she wasn't home at school. She was away, not doing any math that I know of. And then all of these kids, I guess, except Daniel now, have been to Argentina. We have a pastor and his wife. He's an Argentine, and she's a Dutch gal from out here in the valley. And they've been married now for 22 years, and they have a ministry in Abbotsford. So my kids ran into them. They took our kids to Argentina on missions, and the kids have fallen in love with Argentina. So they're living there. And we don't know what the rest of the kids will be up to, but my son plays guitar, so he's now with a pastor that is teaching a group of fellas to be teaching them that course that will be accredited for worship pastoring. My daughter-in-law works at the church we attend, so that's handy. Matthew didn't end up graduating. He had 2 courses left to take, and he went to the brick and mortar school. Oh boy, years and years ago now. And he took auto mechanics. He had already owned a Jeep and done all kinds of auto mechanics. And he took math 11 and science 11, and he was in grade 12. Well, he didn't go to the final for his math, even though he was doing well, and he didn't finish physics. And when I went in and I said to the teachers, why didn't I know that he wasn't completing his classes? And they said, yeah, but he made friends. Didn't want him there to make friends. And he got an A+ in his auto mechanic class. That was all he was interested in. So I've been hounding Maddie now for 6 years. Let's do night school. You can do, and then he got married and they have a daughter and a baby on the way. And it's not my job. I felt guilty originally. I felt guilty that maybe I hadn't accomplished enough with him. Maybe it was my fault. Maybe I shoulda, woulda, coulda. And Matthew, as he matured, he said, Mom, this had nothing to do with you. This isn't your fault that I don't have, that I didn't graduate. I made a choice, and I had more fun in auto mechanics, so I didn't want to do math and physics. It's my fault. So I've encouraged him to finish his education. He's 24 and a half, and he asked me yesterday, what are those 2 courses I need to take for my dogwood? Yes. So do not despair ever. Always keep your littles at home while you can and enjoy them. And when I was growing up and my husband was growing up, we traveled all across Canada with our parents. And when we were in Winnipeg, they weren't learning the same thing they were learning in BC anyway. They were on a different program, so our education was piecemeal. So why can't our kids, even if we take them out of school and unschool for a whole year? So what? Sorry, says me. It wouldn't hurt them. And to go to Argentina for 3 or 4 months, great. Those are life skills, and they're learning so much. When I had the kids enrolled, the twins, and of course they're both different learners, one could accept this and the other one couldn't, and it was hard to teach them, but we had all of this curriculum we had to cover because the school said so. And I got high blood pressure that year. It was something totally out of my comfort zone. Never mind the kids. The kids even said at the end, homeschooling isn't as much fun as it used to be. And I thought, yeah, okay. So they can manage on with life. My oldest daughter had originally said, why didn't you put me in school? I'd have aced everything. I would have had straight A's, Mom. And she would have. That was the kind of kid she was. But she got to do high school rodeo, 4-H. She traveled. She went to rodeos. She did lots of stuff. And in the end, when she had decided she was finished grade 12, and there were no requirements at that time, so she said, okay, I've decided I'm graduated. She was in grade 11. And she took out the GED book out of the library, and she went through it diligently, and she said, is this all you need to know to get a GED? I'm graduated. And I said, well, hang on, you got another year of school. How about you ace everything with 4-H? So she got all of her certificates. Her speech took her on to the provincials. She did a wonderful job, and she was kind of fun to have at home. My next daughter managed the Mark's Workwear World in Aldergrove for years. She taught herself accounting. She went on, and she's, I don't think they think that they missed out on anything except maybe some bullying. Matthew, an interesting story about my son, no names. When he was 2.5 or 3, he had such a speech impediment, no one could understand him, and his sisters used to translate for the grandparents. And I took him to speech therapy, and we got a lovely Christian woman, and she gave me lots of hints. And mostly it was just taking him with me, and we would spend time together, he and I, because by then I had some more little kids at home. And the gal said, your funding has run out. We we can't do speech therapy with your son anymore. He's too old. He'll get it in kindergarten. And I said, you think I'd send him to kindergarten? No one can understand him. I wouldn't do that to him. So that day, we were going to be homeschoolers forever because I wouldn't do that to him. Now, I totally forgot this story, totally, because he would say a frog, and we'd say frog, and we never pointed it out to him. We'd just say it right and ask him to try again. And he'd say a really funny word for truck, and we'd say, no, truck, and he'd say truck, whatever it was. And just all of us would say it right, he'd repeat it, and we'd go on. Well, when he was 10, he didn't have a speech impediment. We totally forgot about it. But he'd been a different kid if he'd gone to school. Oh my goodness. So I had forgotten why we homeschooled, but that was a really good reason. And we were 5 years into it by then. And so it was embedded in our family. And the other thing I didn't like about school when I sent my daughter for a whole 3 months was the hurry up and get your shoes on, hurry up and brush your teeth, hurry up and get in the car, hurry up and get to your class, and hurry up and stop crying. Oh, it was awful. So when I had all these little kids, I said, I always wanted to be a teacher. I've got all these kids, I've got my own classroom. And we didn't have to hurry up and go very, very many places. So that was a very nice thing, very great bonus. Is that about it? Are there questions?